Good morning, everybody. Hope your coffee's as good as mine. We got some breaking news, so let's just dive straight into it, folks. Big story, of course, is Michigan. Michigan results are piled in. We know exactly what's going on in Michigan. But before we get there, we do have some breaking news. Lauren Boebert put out a tweet this morning, said the Biden crime family is going to go down in history as the most corrupt family in history. Yeah, Bobo needs to be focusing on what's going on at home. She needs to drop out of the race and pay attention to her family. We've got some news this morning. You remember little Tyler? He was the one that at 16 years old knocked up his girlfriend, made Bobo a grandma. Tyler went on a crime spree and got arrested yesterday. This is just sad. I mean, it is just sad. This kid is just a mess. A mess. He's been charged with 22 counts. 22. I mean, geez. I mean, if you're going to be a criminal, might as well do it right, right? Four counts of criminal possession of a financial device, 2 or more devices. 3 counts of first-degree criminal trespass auto with intent to commit crime, with intent to commit burglary. 4 counts of criminal possession of ID docs with multiple victims. Conspiracy, ID theft with intent to use, 4 counts of that, contributing to delinquency of a minor, 2 separate minors, 3 counts, and theft, 3 counts of theft. So, yeah, we've got another Republican screaming about family values, talking trash about the Biden family, who, we've seen that the Russians and the Chinese have been hot and heavy about sending their spies in, and those Republicans are more than happy to take information from our enemies to try to take down an American president, but, don't seem to have time to take care of what's important at home. And it's just a damn disgrace. It really is a damn disgrace what's going on. Folks, when you're going to run for office, you have to have your family behind you. You have to have, I was thinking about jumping into the race, the congressional race here. And before I did, I sat down with each and every member of my family and we talked it out. And the timing just was not right for us. I mean, it was politically couldn't have got more perfect, but for us, the timing was just not right. You have to have your family on board. You do, because as much as we don't like to target families, we don't control that. They make the news. Everything they do, there's a spotlight shined on them. And Bobo ain't taking care of business. She is not taking care of business. Her son is on a very, very dark path. And she needs to get the hell out of politics and stay home and, wait tables or something and take care of her family. But yeah, that's our breaking news. Had a great evening last night. Went out with some folks, met Mrs. Texas Paul, I made some new friends. We went out to dinner last night, had a great time. And I got home, and as a Politico, what I saw when I got home and checked the results coming out of Michigan, I swear to God, if I had been a smoker, I would have had to smoke a cigarette after the results. This was better than sex, man. These results coming out of Michigan are just, I am telling you, this is amazing. Let me show you. I've been keeping the Google counter up because it's alive. It updates automatically, and it's been going on. It's actually pretty good. If you just do a search for Michigan results, the first one that's going to pop up is the Google counter. It's actually really good, folks. They're really fast about putting all the new results in. We've got almost all the results in. Let me pull that up for you real quick. Just a few points. First of all, of course, the corporate media is getting it absolutely wrong. The big story with the corporate media that's been running all night and all morning is uncommitted. The uncommitted. Well, let's take a look at uncommitted. 13%. Joe Biden nailed down 81%. By the time he's over, it'll be closer to 82% of the vote. Headlines out of the corporate media are, of course, Biden's in trouble because of uncommitted. These folks don't think we know how to use the internet. This is not a bad turnout for uncommitted. This is actually about normal for what uncommitted gets. Michigan, this whole uncommitted thing, the news is trying to promote it as some sort of new movement. No, it's every primary in Michigan. Every primary has uncommitted movement. And believe me, this is nothing. This isn't even a blip on the radar. In 2008, when Barack Obama was running, the uncommitted vote was 40%. Right at 40%. It's like 39.6 or 39.8%. I don't remember exactly off the top of my head, but it was right at 40%. Oh man, I hope your coffee's hitting as good as mine. I tell you what, the red buds have bloomed. The trees are going crazy, and the tree jizz is everywhere, my friends. It is everywhere. It's killing me. Allergies are killing me this morning. Coffee is hitting particularly well. Damn cedar trees are out there fornicating. Sons of bitches. But yeah, this 13% uncommitted, this isn't a blip on the radar. It's nothing. Because statistics show that these people are going to show up and they're going to vote Democrat. That's just historically what happens. This is a protest vote that they always make in the primaries. Always. No big deal. But of course, the corporate media, oh my God, the uncommitted vote. No, Biden nailed it. Conversely, if you take a look at the Republicans, switch over to the Republican Party, Trump got 68% of Trump would give a testicle right now for 82% of the vote. Trump got 68% of the vote. Nikki Haley, conversely, got 26, going to be 27% of the vote by the time we're done. Yeah. And those Nikki Haley votes, those are serious. I am not voting for Trump votes. That's who those people are. They are like, he does not represent me. The exit polling, I went with what is usual for a situation like this. Historically, just usual. Usually, it's no more than about a quarter of the people that vote for other people just will not turn out. That's just the way it works. It's normally 20 to 30% in that range. Oh, no. The exit polling on these Nikki Haley voters are like, I will never, ever vote for Trump. Ever. And it is amazing that the corporate media is sitting there looking at these numbers. They're sitting there looking at these numbers And they're pulling out the narrative they're pulling out this morning. It's pathetic. It is sad. It is so, just watching them just shred their professional dignity, trying to push a narrative, because it's so obvious they're just trying to keep this a horse race to keep the ad money coming in. There's no way to look at these figures and come up with the narrative that they're coming up with. Lucky Star, I appreciate the support, my friend. I really do. Thank you. But yeah, you're talking about 300,000 Republicans showed up to the polls and said, I'm not voting for Trump. I'm just not doing it. I'm just not doing it. Then the secondary narrative. Peter Campbell says, only one problem. Daddy Vladdy got both of Trump's. I'm not exactly sure what you mean by that, but I'm sure you'll let me know. The second thing I'm seeing when I look at this that is really just, exciting, just really exciting me, is the actual turnout. See, again, the corporate media is trying to spin this as a negative. It's not a negative. Republicans they're going to get about 1.2 million people showing up. We Democrats right now, we're at about 775. And the corporate media is like, oh my God, no Democratic enthusiasm. No, folks, no. Joe Biden is the incumbent. Every primary, when you have an incumbent, when you have a presumptive candidate, turnout is usually just dog low, because everybody just presumes he's got it. I don't have to show up. He's got it. He's got it nailed down. Then those people actually vote in November. Folks, these are huge numbers for an incumbent. This is massive. This is, wow. That's the one thing that when I was looking at the numbers last night, I was like, holy shit. Did you Democrats up in Michigan nail it? Nail it. You're talking about an incumbent presumptive candidate, and you're going to get 775,000 Democrats that are going to show up and say, hey, maybe break 800,000 by the time they're done, that showed up just to send the message, that's my guy. That is outstanding, people. That is outstanding. And think about it. There's 8.5 million registered voters. You only get this tight little hardcore that ever votes in primaries. That's why you're looking at about 2.25 million people that are going to total vote in the primaries, right? Folks, these trends carry on with the other 6 million people. Biden has this, hands down. You look at the historical turnouts, Biden has this. And I tell you, the Republicans know this. They're in a straight panic. This is Hannity and the message they're putting out to their people. Don't take my word for it. This is what they're saying.
In New York District 3, almost every ad was about abortion. And that the ad was that Republicans are going to take away a woman's right to choose. The Republicans better message that better, because that's not the case. That is not what the Dobbs decision said.
That is what the Dobbs decision says. That is exactly what you're doing. And you have Republicans that are out there saying that they want a national ban on abortion. And the Republican strategy, thank God, is to try to convince the American voters that they're not doing what we're all watching them do, and they're telling us they want to do. And they think they can message their way out of it. I am telling you, man, as a Democrat, I couldn't be happier. I couldn't be more excited. I really couldn't. Michigan was amazing. Just you killed it. Michigan voters, you killed it. Rich, good to see you, man. I apologize. I sent you an email. Mrs. Texas Paul used my account to send you an email. We were worried about you, brother. We were just worried about you. That's all. Glad to see you're back, and I'm very sorry to hear about your brother, man. I really am. But there's more. There's more. I mean, I'm telling you, folks, as a politico, as somebody that like really likes to get into what's going on, Michigan is just a microcosm of the Republican Party. They've got this idea that they saw them get kicked in the ass in New York special election. That's the pay throughout the Republican establishment. They don't know what to do about it because they really need to tell their base, yes, we're gonna take abortion away. We're gonna tell women what they can and cannot do. But they can't do that because it's killing them. It is killing them in the general election. And they're just in complete and utter disarray nationally. They just fired Ronna McDaniel. Just boom, gone. Mitt Romney's gone. Just out. Just destroying themselves. And in Michigan, oh my God, this is just, you're going to love this. Let me introduce you to Christina Caramo. She's the head of the Republican Party in Michigan, or at least she was, or maybe she is. I don't know. They're still suing each other over this. This is Christina Caramo. And this will give you an idea of just exactly how bad a shape the Republicans are in. The Republicans thought, there's a lot of black folks in Michigan. I bet that if we put blackface on, they'll love us. They'll love us. And they made Christina Caramo the head of the GOP. And she's a freaking disaster. She is a disaster. First of all their white racists immediately stopped supporting them. These are the kind of headlines that we've been seeing out of the Republican Party for the last year. Incompetent dumpster fire. Michigan Republican Party rocked by financial turmoil and infighting. Yeah, the Michigan Republican Party's broke. They put this entire last election on a credit card. Last financials, they had $71,000 on hand. That's it. Because they're racist. Same thing they did with Michael Steele. Michael Steele, as a Republican, led the Republicans to some of the largest victories they've ever had. The entire takeover of Congress, nobody would donate. Their Harlan Crows and that class of donor would not give money to the Republican Party because Michael Steele was black. They had to kick him out of office because he was even though he was incredibly successful. Christina Caramo is not Michael Steele. I am not comparing the two. She is Candace Owens. That's who Christina Caramo is. But it's just amazing to watch. They're broke. They're dead broke. They're putting this on credit cards, and it's you're going to love this. You're going to love this. Chaz Sear says, is anyone planning on when Trump loses Texas, Paul? I doubt it. If his freaks will just walk away. They will. They will. The whole I'm going to jail for Trump thing. Thanks for the support, Jose. I really appreciate you. The whole I'm going to jail for Trump thing is over. It's over. I'm not concerned about violence or anything like that. But so Christina Caramo is a disaster. So the local Republicans get together and they say, well, we're going to declare we have new leadership. And this is Peter Hoekstra. If you're political, you know who Peter Hoekstra is. He is a MAGA nutball that's been around forever. he has been around forever. Cynthia says, "Where are the Cokes?" Yeah, that's the thing. They're not donating in Michigan. They are not, even though they are big in Michigan. They are not funding the GOP. They don't do that when a black person runs the GOP. They just don't do it. They are financially devastated. They are literally putting what's about to happen on credit cards, and this is the hilarious part. If you look at the delegates that Joe Biden got, he got 109 delegates. If you look at the delegates that were distributed on the Republican side, Trump got 9, Nikki Haley got 4. Where's the other delegates? Where are the other 93 delegates? You remember when the Republicans made hay back in 2016 about Democratic superdelegates? Remember that? Superdelegates are put in place to just kind of keep things calm and straight. I actually support the idea of superdelegates. It's a good idea. It's a good idea. But it is not putting your thumb on the scale. A superdelegate cannot overturn a primary election. They can't. Republicans said, hold my beer. Hold my beer. They're only handing out these 13 delegates in the primary. The rest of the delegates, they're going to hold a convention and pass them out themselves. They're going to decide who gets the rest of the delegates. Because the maggots inside the Michigan Republican Party decided, we can't let the people decide. Are you kidding me? The people don't like us. So yeah, they decided they're going to hold a convention. Well, guess what? Christina Caramo said, I'm holding my own convention. I run the GOP. I'm holding the convention. Peter Hoekstra here, this nutball, Republican nutball, says, oh no, I'm holding a convention. They are both putting on GOP credit cards 2 separate conventions to pass out the rest of the delegates to the candidates. They can't afford one convention, let alone 2. And the legal fights that are going to come when we get 2 separate counts out of these conventions. This is just what we're up against, folks. This is just the hilarity, the buffoonery that is coming out of Michigan. And, you know, we get people, Fayetteville, Arkansas for Joe Biden. Amen, Ron. I hear you, man. I hear you. I hear you. We get people in our own camp, like Ratchet Rashida, that thinks that they're going to do something with this uncommitted vote. That's what that was all about, though, by the way, folks. You know, they have this uncommitted thing every election cycle. And old Ratchet Rashida said, well, if you don't make me in charge of foreign policy and do what I say as far as foreign policy is concerned, we're all going to stay home. All of my voters are going to stay home. Well, that didn't work out so well for old Ratchet Rashida. Let me ask you something. Do you want this person in charge of your foreign policy? Because that's what her blackmail is. We're going to vote uncommitted unless this administration does what I say they should do. That's what the uncommitted blackmail movement was. You do what I say. Do you think this woman is competent to handle negotiations in the Middle East? You know, you got Joe Biden announced the other day before he went on late night, he's like, we're about a week away from a ceasefire being signed, a permanent ceasefire being signed. We're getting things done. Do you think Ratchet Rashida is going to be able to do that? Do you think her movement is anybody's even going to remember it by November? No. Things look good, my friends. And it was so hilarious. They had 3% of the Republican vote voted uncommitted. They forgot to change their party affiliation before they went in and voted uncommitted. They didn't even it wasn't even Democrats that were showing up and voting uncommitted. A chunk of them were Republicans that were trying to be asses and try to get this uncommitted thing to be a thing. And 3% of them forgot to change their party affiliation and voted uncommitted as Republicans. I love it. Yeah. Krista 007 Mill says, never interrupt your enemy when they're making a mistake. Amen. Amen. Mr. Newsom, good to see you. GOP put chaos to shame. But yeah, I got to admit, I came home last night and I'm like, okay, let's look at these numbers. Let's see what we got. Whoo, man, was I happy. Man, was I happy. But let me tell you, this is what we've got going on. This is what's in front of us. That's behind us. This is what's in front of us. We've got Super Tuesday coming up. But in 2 days, the government shuts down. Friday. We gotta have a bill passed by Friday. We don't get a bill passed by Friday to fund the government, it's going to shut down. The Republicans were very, very concerned about this. So they went on vacation until yesterday. And yes, Raider Nation, thank you for saying it. That's the message at the end of the show right here. Raider Nation, we'll just do it right now. This does not mean you can be complicit. You must work hard to keep the White House. Yes, take nothing for granted. All this means, this is not a gimme. These results are not a gimme. What these results mean are, if you do the work and if you show up, we will take Congress. We will end the Republican Party. And we will have a second Biden term with sanity and a government working for the American people instead of the insanity that are the Republicans. So let's take a look at some of the insanity from the Republicans. We had this fake border crisis. I gave you that article. By the way, the article is linked in the last show from Wired, where you've got Russians, the troll farms, the same bots that are affiliated with the troll farms, pushing out disinformation about the border. And it's such a crisis that Republicans have blocked every piece of legislation that would do anything to help with the situation down at the border. As we discussed before, the numbers they're using are bogus because they come out of, remember COVID. We had Title 42 put in place, which is an emergency protocol, which means there's no due process. You just pick people up and push them back across the border, and then they just come right back. And we had people coming over 6, 8, 10, 12, 14 times. But Republicans count each one of those people, every time those people are arrested, as one, like it's an individual person. They're saying, oh my God, 7 million people. No, it's not 7 million people. We did not have an invasion. It's not 7 million people. It was the fact that they knew these numbers were skyrocketing under Title 42. They wanted to keep it in place. They wanted to keep it in place so bad that evil Popeye and Ken Paxton and Greg Abbott sued the federal government to keep Title 42 in place when the federal government is saying, hey, man, look, let us go back to due process. That kills illegal immigration. That slows illegal immigration. And it did. As soon as they finally got rid of Title 42, immigration plummeted by half. But the Republicans ran down, it's all psyops for them. It's never reality. Ran down to the border this Christmas, when there's always a spike in immigration, every Christmas. Next Christmas, there will be a spike in illegal immigration, illegal crossings. There will be. Because families like to get together for the holidays. And then now it's gone. There's nothing down there. Shelby Park is a ghost town with razor wire. Silverthorn Goodtree asked, there needs to be pushback against Bob Costas. Did you watch the Keith O podcast? He made great points. I am a huge fan of Keith Olbermann, by the way. He's a great follow. He really is. I don't agree with everything he says, but I love his passion. He makes great points. Here in Minnesota, we're getting things done. Glad to hear it, my friend. Glad to hear it. But yeah, let's talk about what are the Republicans doing? You know, they haven't passed any bills in Congress, so what are they doing? Now, they claim the border is a crisis, but they kill every bit of legislation aimed at doing anything down at the border because they want, just like they kept Title 42 in place to puff up the numbers. It's always a game. It's always nonsense. There's no reality to it. What are they doing? Well, let's see. Republicans in California, they're going to waste California tax dollars on recalling Gavin Newsom. Again, failed miserably the first time. He's even more popular now. If Gavin Newsom had to run for a re-election today, he would win in a landslide. He is infinitely more popular today than he was the first time they tried to recall him. But they're going to waste taxpayer dollars in California with this nonsense. That's what they're doing. Just like they're wasting my tax dollars down at the Texas border, interfering with federal immigration. It's Customs and Border Patrol. You know, they all the time, they think they're flexing. I don't get it. Customs and Border Patrol just seized 100,000 pounds of fentanyl. Way to go. I know what the word seized means. Good job. Way to go, Joe. And where'd you go, Toro? There you are, Toro. Nope, that's Pearl. Toro Verde. I caught you out of the corner of my eye, Toro Verde. I'm over this crap. I am too. Everybody is. And that's what the Republicans are in such a sheer panic about. None of this is working. It's just blowing up in their faces. People are actually paying attention. You know, they thought bringing in these Russian spies and these Chinese spies to give testimony and disgraced FBI agents would stick, and it's not, and they don't know what to do. They're in a sheer panic. Vicky H says, do you think they're setting up optics for Thursday's Trump board? Oh, yeah. It'll be fake as hell. What you'll see is Fox News will juxtapose Trump with fake old footage from December. That's what you'll see. It'll be fake old footage from December. Absolutely. It is absolutely about nothing. It is about nothing in reality. Nothing at all. But what are they doing? You know, they're out there trying to recall an incredibly popular governor. They're wasting my tax dollars, interfering with the regular process of people getting hearings, people being screened. No, they're sticking immigrants on buses and shipping them off to other cities without letting them know they're coming, without any coordination whatsoever. Is that how you run a damn government? These are people. You're going to put people on a bus and not tell anybody they're coming? Not coordinate with anyone? You're going to interfere with the screening process. That's what they're doing. Where do you think they're getting these people? These people have been taken out of line. They're normally going through the process where they identify these people, they do background checks on these people. It is a long, drawn-out process, folks. It really is. And we Democrats are trying to employ technology to make this faster so that we can Deport those that get deported, because not everybody that shows up here gets to stay, despite what Republicans tell you. Most do not get asylum. They get rejected and sent home. But we're trying to reform that process. They won't do it. They won't do it. Instead, we had this, and just mind blown, talking about evil Popeye and Abbott. And what Republicans are doing, definitely not running the government, definitely not leading, definitely not doing anything. It's all spectacles. Evil Popeye files a lawsuit. Texas asks a Trump judge to declare most of the federal government unconstitutional. I am not kidding. They went judge shopping and found the guy. This is Ken Paxton. For folks that have never seen him, you'll see why I call him Evil Popeye. This is Evil Popeye. My attorney general went judge shopping to find a moron, to find a judge that would do anything. Such a Trumper. Another Robert Hur that would take an entire career, pour gasoline on themselves, and then light themselves on fire. Let me introduce you to James Wesley Hendricks. This, folks, is what you get when the stupid sperm wins the race. This right here. This guy just declared our government unconstitutional. 2 days ago, they filed. This guy said, yup. And what this goes, the heart of this goes to, they're still arguing about COVID. I wish I was making that up. No, they're still wasting time arguing about COVID. You remember during COVID, Nancy Pelosi said you can vote by proxy. We're not going to put a big bunch of the federal government together in one room. We don't know how bad this is going to be. We don't know if this is just going to kill a lot of people. We're not going to put a bunch of people together in one room to debate. We're going to vote for things that are procedural by proxy. And what that means is vote from home. That's what it meant. This judge has just declared that there's nothing in the Constitution that says you could vote from home. In fact, it says you have to have a quorum of present legislators in order to do any business. So everything that y'all did, including pass a budget, is unconstitutional and has to be repealed and done over. I'm not joking, folks. This is not hyperbole. This really, really just happened. Republicans. So what's going to happen from here? Well, first of all, I put in an order down at Office Depot. I got, on behalf of the Texas Paw Potheads, you guys, I ordered a set of rubber stamps. I'm sending one set to the Texas Supreme Court, and I'm sending the other set to the U.S. Supreme Court. And those stamps say, "No, you stupid twat." So every time James Wesley Hendricks renders one of these idiotic decisions that is just out there in la la land, they can just rubber stamp it and send it back. Really did that, by the way, folks. Those stamps are on the way. As soon as I get them, I'm mailing them out. I'm mailing one set to the Texas Supreme Court, one set to the actual Supreme Court, the U.S. Supreme Court, that say, "No, you stupid twat." I'm sorry, I couldn't help myself when I heard this, because everybody is laughing this decision. Just they cannot believe this guy did a Robert Hur. If you look at his resume, Chassier says, "I wish they would do something about our southern border. I'm sick of all the guns and drugs and freaks coming into the country, and I'm Canadian." Yeah, wish they'd do something about that Canadian border, huh? Yeah, I hear you, brother. I hear you. But yeah, folks, that's what they're doing. They're still arguing about stupid COVID stuff, man, when we actually have things to do. Here in the state of Texas, the Journal for American Medical Association, JAMA, published a study about what's happening after Dobbs. And I've got a link for it down in the description already. I've already put the link in there. This is the American Medical Association taking a look at this study. There were 212,000 rapes here in the state of Texas. Vaginal rapes. They qualified it as vaginal rapes. So there are actually more. This is reported rapes. There are way more, 3 times as many, that don't get reported. Guys, if you don't understand that, talk to the women that you love. They either know somebody or have an unreported situation themselves. That's just the reality of this. The rest of the country, its crime rate is plummeting. But not Texas. Not Texas. Not Texas. We've overcome California, and we don't have the same. We have a smaller population. We've got a rape problem here in Texas, and it's not immigrants. Immigrants commit crimes roughly 1/3 less than white citizens. They just do. And folks, when this study was published back in January, they had accounted for 26,000 women in the state of Texas that were being forced to carry their rapist child and could do nothing about it. Nothing. And it's getting worse because Republicans can't govern. They just can't. I'll be fair. I will be fair. I'm not going to say Republicans are causing this crime. Crime happens for varying reasons. Crime happens. But you have to react to it. You have to do something about it. And they're not doing anything. Nothing of consequence. We've got a government shutdown looming. Nothing. Nothing. They took a vacation. They're going to shut the government down on purpose, folks. They are. They're not going to do the work. They're not going to govern. That's why I looked at these numbers out of Michigan. Folks, that's why I'm looking at the numbers out of Michigan. And I am telling you, this is a big freaking deal. because it doesn't do anything to get better from here for us. Because Joe Biden's getting it done. Joe Biden's working on Middle East peace. Joe Biden is doing everything he can, and they've gotten inflation under control. Inflation is falling. You know, folks, we're going to see a market correction, a real estate market correction. That's going to happen. They're preparing for that now. Everybody watching the market knows it will happen. It will happen. Democrats, you can rest assured. They know. They've got a plan in place. They haven't been slicing interest rates as fast as they could. Believe me, these numbers that we're seeing economically could be even better. We're setting records, and it could be even better. If they ratcheted back interest rates, oh my God, home sales, car sales, all those big ticket items would flood into the market. Those numbers would just skyrocket, but so would inflation. When we have this real estate correction, when we have a market correction, anytime you get a long run in the market, there's going to be a correction. Keep your fundamentals good. Do the right thing. Long it says, my son almost got killed a few days ago. 2 bad ones with a hammer. The police want him to tell, but they say they can't protect him. What would you do? Trina, I can't walk in your shoes there. I can't. I can only tell you what I would do. But I'm a bit of an evil bastard. I will admit. I don't react well to people hurting my family. And, I'm one of those people that I don't have a temper problem. I'm the nicest guy in the world 99.999999999% of the time. But when something like that happens, I lose my mind. I do. So I'm not the best person. I'll give you an example. I was in the parking lot at Sam's, and we were loading groceries in the back of my wife's SUV. And there was an older couple in the parking lot. You could tell that they were in his truck. It was a newer truck. These people were in their 90s. They were late 80s, 90s. They were very elderly. The man was at that point where he physically couldn't function, so his wife was driving his truck for him, and she was very uncomfortable. And she was trying to get into a parking space. She was waiting for the handicap space. The guy behind her couldn't see around her, didn't know that the road was blocked, and he is laying on the horn and sticking his head out the window and screaming obscenities at this old woman. And I look up and I see her, and she has tears in her eyes, man. And I lost it. I threw my groceries in the back of the SUV. As soon as I did that, her space opened up. She moved. This guy lights up his tires. He's been honking his horn, screaming obscenities at her. Next thing you know, I'm not in the Sam's parking lot anymore. I'm in the Walmart parking lot next door because I have chased this guy all the way across the parking lot. I lose time. I do. That's just me. That's just me. And if somebody hurt my family like that, I would hunt. Trina, I would hunt. I would. The police would have to react to keep what would happen next from happening. They would. And my advice to you is, I can't give you any advice, but if I was in your situation, I would report them, and then I would be so vocal, so loud, and such a pain in the ass to that police force if I were you. that they couldn't help but be involved. I would talk to the local media. I would raise holy hell is what I would do. Scorched earth. And I hope your son's okay. I really hope your son's okay. But yeah, folks, back to what we were talking about. Back to what we were talking about. The Republicans are doing nothing. I want you to think about that, folks. There's a war going on in Europe. There's an invasion that has happened in a European country. And Republicans, they're not going to do their job. They're not. They're not going to fund Ukraine. They're not going to keep the government open. They're literally going around the world finding foreign spies to try to sow chaos here in our country. That's what they're doing. So yeah, I'm looking at this election thinking, oh yeah, November looks pretty good. It looks pretty good. Everything that's going to happen between now and then. Because let me tell you something, folks. People are taking a look at the Republican Party, and they've had enough. They have had enough. And they know they cannot be trusted. They know when they say that they're going to be dictators and they're going to gut our institutions like they're saying in the 2025 project, they know they mean it. They know when they say, we're going to take away your Social Security and Medicare and Medicaid because government's bad. You know, people used to shrug that off like they did abortion. Look what they did with abortion. People know. People know. This next election is going to be such a clear decision. It's an easy decision. You can vote for Democrats. And you can have a society where we value education. We want people to have health care. We usher in great economies because, like I always say, we all do better when we all do better. Including the wealthy people. They've never figured this out. They've never figured this out. Wealthy people's wealth is on paper. And that paper becomes worthless when Republicans rule for too long because they destroy our economies and their valuations decrease. They never get that when Democrats are in charge, we all do better and the wealthy do better. The sharks in the pool eat best when there's food in the pool. And they can never wrap their heads around that. They can't. Thanks for the support, Happy Cable. I appreciate you. So yeah, while you're dealing with that, and I know I'm lagging, folks. I apologize. That's not on me. That's AT&T's been having problems for a week. They just have. My internet service provider's been having problems for a week, and Mrs. Texas Paul's been screaming at me in chat that I'm lagging. I'm aware. I apologize for that. It's just the way it is. It's just our connection today, folks. We do the best we can when you live out in the sticks. But yeah, let's set the tone. Let's set the tone. My good friend Majid, that was on the show not too long ago, posted this to X-Chan. We need to be going at this corporate media, folks. We need to be going at this corporate media. There's two different bars that they're holding up. Joe Biden has to dominate utterly, and they still say he's in trouble. Donald Trump can bumble his way into, 70% with 30% of his damn party saying, we will never vote for you, and he's inevitable. Joe Biden's policies are fantastic for the country. He's having huge success both in foreign policy and domestic. And the corporate media is more than happy to run with, oh, we're having to. Crime has plummeted, folks. And the majority of the country thinks that there's crime out there today. Crime is on the rise. And the corporate media runs crap and then turns around and says, well, Democrats need to do a better job of messaging. No, you need to do a better job of what your job is. This is Donald Trump the other day.
Right now, in a number of states, the laws allow a baby to be born from his or her mother's womb in the 9th month. It is wrong. It has to change.
One more time.
Right now, in a number of states, the laws allow a baby to be born from his or her mother's womb in the 9th month. It is wrong. It has to change.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. They're allowing babies to be born from their mother's wombs in the 9th month. And that has to change. Could you imagine what our corporate news headlines would be if Joe Biden said that? Could you imagine what it would run in a loop continuously? Democrats have concerns about Biden's age. Biden's old. Yet this, crickets, nothing. They're going to go down and they're going to show BS footage down at the border because Trump's going to be down on the border tomorrow. He's going to be down there with my idiot governor tomorrow. They're going to run that in a loop. And then they're going to show old footage from December. I'm telling you, there's nobody down at the border right now. It is dead. It is dead. I'm going to go down there and let you see. I am. Miss Texas Paul, we talked about that over the next few days. We're going down to the border. I'm going to let you see firsthand from me what that border looks like. Crickets. Nothing. But they're going to run that old footage. They are. They're going to show you pictures of old caravans. Even when they're not actually caravans, they're protests in South America somewhere, you know what I mean? Just, they're going to run that shit. And that's our news. Meanwhile, they're going to completely ignore the story that babies are allowed to be born from their mother's womb in the 9th month. Yeah, Spooky, it doesn't do much good if I don't show it live. I want you to see exactly what it is. I'm going to do everything I can to stream down there live. But that's what I've got for you today, folks. That's this hour. I appreciate you being here. You got some time left. Got any questions? We've got Hal coming up. We'll run over just a few minutes because Hal usually takes a few minutes. Usually runs a few minutes late, so I don't mind eating in a few minutes. But I hate to miss Hal. I love to watch Hal. He's coming up. Any questions you have, any roundtables, any questions on what we talked about today? Nail it. Let's see it. I mean, back up and see what we've got here. Oh, Mrs. Texas Paul is telling me I forgot to answer a discharge petition. Somebody asked me to tell you what a discharge petition petition is. The way it normally works in our Congress is a bill goes through a committee first. There are committees that deal with each specific type of issue that have domain over specific issues. Normally, the committee will vote on it. Then they will, after that vote, it gets sent to the full House. Then the whole House takes it up for a vote. You can avoid that process on a bill that takes time. That takes time. Something like funding, where we've got to get this done. They can use what's called a discharge position. The speaker can move the bill directly to the floor without going through committee. What that means is, according to the House rules that are set up now, because the Republicans wanted to make everything as hard as freaking possible to govern, under House rules now, that means everything requires a 2/3 majority, but a supermajority. You can't just pass it with a majority. So when the funding comes up, because Republicans frittered away their time, went on a vacation, did all that nonsense, didn't do their damn jobs, we're going to have to rush this. They're going to have to use a discharge position to put the funding bill on the floor, and it's going to require a supermajority rather than just a regular majority. Jessica McKenzie says, "Hi, Texas Paul. Did you hear it's now illegal in Missouri for a pregnant woman to divorce her husband, even if there's domestic violence? Do you think the corporate media wants Trump to win?" Yes, the corporate media wants Trump to win. Absolutely. And I am telling you, folks, the laws, these people, I'm telling you, we're going to decimate Republicans this election. One thing that you can say about Donald Trump is he made Republicans show us who they are. Guys like me have been telling you for decades, these guys are evil. These guys are not right in the head. And folks didn't believe us. Then comes Donald Trump and makes it okay to be the worst version of them that they are. And boy, howdy have they. Look at James Hendricks. James Wesley, he goes by Wes Hendricks, Judge Hendricks. He's got a great resume up until he came into contact with Trump, and then he turned into a complete nutter. Look at Robert Hur, great resume, destroys himself for the Republican Party. Sherry Foster says, "Do you think Joe Biden could fund things through executive orders in situations like what is happening today?" No. There are some tricks in the bag. There are some things he can do, but no. They will have a couple months that they can keep basic things running in the government. Then we will start talking about defaulting on our debts. We will start talking about things grinding to a halt, about laying people off, they can't do it forever. They can do it temporarily. For all my How people out there, I just wanted to remind you, Nerd Halen is in Grapevine, just down the road here. Hal Sparks' concert is in Grapevine on November 2nd. Should be a good time. I'm going. We just need to vote. We just need to vote. It's really that simple. You've got people like Ratchet Rashida saying, "Oh, don't vote. Look at this shit, man. Has there ever been a time more important to vote than now? We just need to vote." And this election it is so freaking scary, but at the same time, it is so damn exciting, because this election, it's all on the line. And as a Politico, my biggest thing, especially in Texas, is just getting people to show up to vote. They have to this time. The Republicans have done it for us. They've been a motivating machine. They've told women, "You're second-class citizens. You can't control your own reproduction. If you get raped, you have to have your rapist baby. We said so." And on and on and on. So, yeah, the Republicans have set themselves up to be absolutely and utterly destroyed. Yeah, is this a game of chicken? Exactly. Exactly. That's what this election is. It is a game of chicken. It is go with us Democrats and have a good, healthy democracy, less terrorism in the world because Russia collapses, just peaceful, calm foreign policy, and government that actually governs, competent people in the jobs in government, or vote Republican, get the 2025 project where everybody that's going to be in charge of everything that government does, number one job requirement is to be a sycophant for Trump, not their ability to actually do the job. Asborn Newton, if you don't want a if you don't want a handmaid's tale society, vote. And that's it. It's not hyperbole. The Republicans are telling you this. The Republicans are telling you this. And this is the thing. Perlin says orphanages will be full. Yeah. That's what the Republicans have done. Steve McLeod says, how is Putin still in power? He has to be weak by now. Putin is still in power because he is the richest man on the face of the planet, and corruption is rampant in Russia. I was watching someone talk about things that we don't get about Russia, and Russia has never had a democracy. Never. They briefly had a democracy when Putin took power, and that was immediate. They've never had a long-running period of democracy. They don't know what it's like for the people to be able to choose what's right and what's wrong. So, yeah, it's difficult for us to understand as Americans because we're like, just vote the bastard out, get rid of him. They can't do that in Russia. They can't. That's why everybody that knows anything about Russia keeps saying Putin's a dead man. But until he is, he's dangerous. Diana Turner says, let Speaker Johnson a message yesterday. I don't know what that means. Diana, I don't know what that means. Throw another comment out there so I can know what that means. But what I was saying, that was a great comment about the orphanages will be full. It's not just the orphanages. These Republicans want to relive everything horrible from our past. We've got measles outbreaks in this country now from unvaccinated people, and you still have evil Popeye arguing about COVID. It's like they have to relive the blind, deaf children. They have to relive the horrible life that is polio. They have to relive everything bad. They have to relive back in the day when we didn't have safe abortions. They have to relive all of that. No, thank you. No, thank you. I'm voting Democrat. I'm kicking these people out of office. Well, folks, I'm seeing that Hal is up and running. I appreciate you being here. I love talking to you. I just enjoy these Michigan results. Enjoy looking at Diana Turner. Thank you for the support. I appreciate you. And I'm glad to hear you called. I'm glad. Reach out. Do that. Cheryl Clark, absolutely blue wave. But Hal's on. Let's go enjoy the show. Thank you for being here with me. Enjoy some Texas cities at night.